Rinotuna is one of the people worthy of the title Art God. Have you ever seen ginseng or ginseng? You know, one of these? It became a beautiful goddess in the hands of Rinotuna. Have you ever seen a shrimp? He turns a shrimp into a total hunk. Needless to say, his creativity is out of this world. Rinotuna actually has a class in Colosso. You can check it out if you want to learn in depth about his creative process. But in this video, it will be based on my observation of his artworks. Also, Colosso is using he/him pronouns when referring to Rinotuna. I've seen creators also using said pronouns as well, so I will do the same throughout this video. When I first saw Rinotuna's artwork, I noticed a contrast in his art style. He draws the face in a more stylized anime style, but from the neck down, it's very much realistic. And it's amazing how Rinotuna can combine these two art styles so you get the best of both worlds. His colors and shading are not overly complicated in my opinion, but he has a deep understanding of how different textures and materials work. Take this artwork for an example. You can see the difference in material between his inner shirt and his jacket. Painting these materials takes practice. While his shading is not overly complicated, Rinotuna really pays attention to details. The characters either have tattoos, accessories, band-aids, or whatever it may be, which makes them visually more interesting without overwhelming the overall design. Also, I love how Rinotuna line arts his works. It's really neat and well defined, but the painting inside of the line art is realistic. Let's practice Rinotuna's style in our own drawing. Today's subject is Wriothesley. Yes, that's how you say his name. Not Wriothesley apparently. He got no wrist. I will try to study this artwork. You might think it's because I'm thirsty, but no. It's because Rinotuna titled this Doodle. Doodle of a man. I would literally spend 3 days drawing this, but this should be sufficient as a warm-up before we move on to a more complex drawing. For this one, I will focus more on learning Rinotuna's skin and clothes shading. I will keep my art style for the face, but I will shade it referencing Rinotuna's drawing. As I mentioned, the face shading is pretty stylized. It looks anime, but Rinotuna deeply understands the face anatomy, which enables him to simplify the drawing. It's not overly complicated, but it has depth and dimension. I'm really impressed by the neck shading. Okay, I know it's just a neck, but listen, the neck is one of the hardest body parts to shade, for me at least. There are muscles and a throat inside of it, and they affect the shape of the neck. The way Rinotuna shades the neck looks so visually pleasing. It's not too detailed but also not too smooth. This also applies to the other body parts, especially where it contains muscles. The shading looks delicate, but you can see the muscular structure. This is just my observation, but I think this look can be achieved by not using smudge or blur to blend. Instead, use low opacity brush and midtones. Midtones are the colors in between the darkest and lightest colors in a shading. I used to call them in-between colors, but turns out they have an official, less stupid name. I believe Rinotuna has a deep understanding of how the muscles work. Maybe even draw countless of skinless, titan-like beings to perfect his craft. If you look closely, Rinotuna's muscles have small details. And I'm not talking about the veins, but like small shadows that indicate there's something in there. This is such a bad way to explain, but these details never look out of place. Rather, they give a more realistic look to the drawing. To be honest, if you want to learn how to paint muscles, you can just ditch your biology book and just study from Rinotuna's drawing. Another thing that stands out to me is the dark shadows against the rim light. It seems like a small thing, but the contrast makes the painting more interesting. When it comes to shading clothes, I must confess, I still have a lot to figure out. On the other hand, Rinotuna is a master in shading clothes, and pretty much everything. Shading clothes is tricky because they come in different shapes and forms, depending on the materials and how they wrap around the objects. In this artwork, through my state-of-the-art analyzing device, aka my tired eyes, I can see the tank tops made from thin material and clings tightly around this person's torso. I repeat, tightly. The shadows around the chest and stomach look soft, so I'm going to use airbrush around these areas. Oh lord, it looks unwashed. This is fine, it's all part of the process, I think. I'm trying to capture the shape of his abs through the fabric. It shouldn't look too bulgy because his shirt is covering it. I don't think Rinotuna is using airbrush for shading clothes, as you can still see the brush strokes. Just like shading skin, he's utilizing midtones to give more dimension to the fabrics. If you're not sure how to get these midtones, overlay the dark color on top of the base using low opacity brush and pick the color in between. At a glance, Rinotuna shading looks really detailed, but if you look closely, a lot of parts are shaded simply with bigger brush. The small creases are mostly around the armpit and where the torso bends. In theory, it sounds easy, but actually doing it, it's like you forget how to draw. In a true Rinotuna fashion, I will line art my artwork as smoothly as possible. This adds definition to the painting and allows you to add more details easily. It also makes the painting look tidier. Because I didn't see Rinotuna's painting process and only learned from his finished artworks, I don't know if he added the line art before or after the rendering. I prefer after because I see line art as a detail. Speaking of details, let's not forget to add his veins. I think this lacks some depth in the shadows, so I will apply some darker ones using multiply layer. Oh, and I am too lazy to finish his hands. Sorry. Okay, that was one hell of a warm-up. Now we are going to move on to a more sophisticated practice, one that includes a more complicated outfit. I think this artwork is perfect to practice on because the outfit is detailed but not overly complicated, and the characters is based on Siberian Husky, which kind of resembles Wriothesley in a good way. To make this practice easier, I will begin by drawing the silhouette. The pose itself is a basic standing pose, but still, it's easier to start with silhouette rather than drawing directly on a blank piece of canvas. I don't know what he would be holding here. Basketball? Package? No, he's not a package handler. Ooh, Paimon. Of course, we should add Paimon. We have a portable traveling companion / emergency food. Maybe we can add a little backstory. Maybe Paimon was floating around in Wriothesley's office. She was hungry, and then she consumed his cookies and tea, and now she's being punished. Accessories are essential in Rinotuna's artworks. Almost all of his characters have intricate accessories that match their concept, making the design look detailed and interesting. I'm going to insert Wriothesley's belt, gloves, and choker from his official design so that we can maintain his essence even though the outfit is modern. I've been altering my workflow by skipping the cleaner sketch and going straight into coloring. Even though I preach about the importance of drawing cleaner sketches, lately I'm too lazy to do it myself. I tried following Rinotuna for the face shading, but I couldn't get it right, so I decided to go with my own style. Rinotuna seems to be the expert in drawing tight-fit shirts. I especially like how he handles the shadow around the neck and collarbone area. They're bold and dark, and the same goes for the small fabric creases. Because I don't have a deep knowledge of fabrics like Rinotuna does, I always draw it as subtle as possible. Here I'm trying to break that habit and draw creases in more confidence. It's not perfect, but it's part of the practice. Rinotuna loves to add, what do you call them? Sidekicks? Yes, let's go with sidekicks for now. He likes to add children or little animals to complement the main character, and their interactions add some sort of backstories to the character design. Like Paimon here, who consumed Wriothesley's food instead of becoming one. She's our sidekick in this painting. It's good to learn to draw different materials like metal and silver so the accessories look more realistic. I'm still struggling to get the details right, so I will leave most of that for the line art's face by the end of the painting process. The guy in Rinotuna's painting has Husky Express logo on his shirt, but I'm going to draw Wriothesley's shark sticker because it's cute and it looks like him. I'm drawing it in multiply layer so the cloth shading is still intact. My brush is a bit soft, so drawing details such as zippers and buttons on the jacket is a bit messy, but do as best as you can. The painting itself is pretty much done. I just have to adjust the color and add some finishing touches, but before that, I will line art the painting. I'm not going to line art all of it though, because turns out it looks unnatural. I will mostly line art on the outside of the painting for more definition. In other artworks, Rinotuna adds lots of stickers, sometimes tattoos on his characters. Coincidentally, Wriothesley also has some stickers on his punchers. But for this, I will add stickers to his arms and clothes instead, and maybe some on Paimon. There's something so adorable about having cute little stickers on a big scary looking dude. I will adjust the colors first by using hue and saturation and also some blending modes. You can find more details about this in my other video. Rinotuna's artworks look really sharp and well defined, isn't it? While I don't know exactly what he used to make that effect, you can copy it by using Unsharp Mask in IB's Paint filter and adjust it accordingly to your preference. To draw like Rinotuna, you need to know about different materials, fabrics, and anatomy. Knowing how things really look helps you simplify and draw accurately, even though your drawing is stylized.